Well, good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Gary. We're going to try this again and see if it will kick in for us today. Trust you had a great weekend and that you'll have a wonderful week. I I love this time of year because it's my favorite, personally my favorite of all the holiday seasons because there's turkey, food, fellowship, pecan pie, hint, 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 uh, and also football. Some of the greatest college football and even pro football. It's getting pretty intense here, and so looking forward to this week and know that it's going to be a great time. Listen, have you ever heard that phrase, attitude check? When our children were growing up, we would occasionally ask that question. Attitude check. Most often it'd be in response to their reticence to do a chore or do their homework or clean up their room or whatever. It's a phrase that we pose to friends and family, work associates, athletes and students over the course of our lives, I'm sure. You as well as myself. Paul, when he was writing to the church at the Thessalonians in that region, he gave some one-liners as he's closing out that first letter to the churches in Thessalonica, of, of one of which is, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of God. Verse 18. Why did he say that? Well, I believe that part of the reason that Paul said that is he knew that the churches were going to face some real challenges in the days ahead. We too have and will continue to be confronted with challenges. And one of the key attitudes required to maintain our witness is to have an attitude of gratitude, especially as we're moving to the next level. Over the course of our ministry, we visited folk and found themselves who were living in assisted or full-time care facilities. Some aren't, but many of them have had an attitude of gratitude that was contagious. As I share the memories of visits to those with that attitude, they were always inspiring. There were those individuals that we intentionally went to visit because I needed encouragement, and it was somewhat selfish, but they made rich deposits of gratitude and thanksgiving into my life, and I always would leave their presence encouraged. There was Aunt Lil, who always encouraged Kathy and I before we even entered into ministry while we were still in coaching and education. She was always upbeat and always had a warm cookie and a glass of milk or a cup of coffee for me. And she was confined to a tenement apartment in Madison, South Dakota, but she gave us rich deposits into our lives. There was Peggy. She was a resident at Orange Park at Moose Haven, and she was always encourager, and often she would pull me into places of being stretched by faith. Let me just share with you one instance in Peggy. I went to visit her one day, and I'd heard that she wasn't feeling well, and it was about mid-morning, and when I walked into her room, she said, "Come with me. The Lord told me you were coming this morning, and I want you to come and pray for somebody." And she took me over to the medical care place and took me to a room where a man had gangrene in his lower extremity of one leg. And she said, "The Lord spoke to me that when you would pray for this man, he'd be healed." I'm thinking, thank you, Peggy, for this, because it certainly wasn't my faith. And she said, "If you'll lay hands on him." So I remember bending down, laying hands on the man, and then really not expecting much result. I'm just being honest with you, because I was pulled into that situation. And I heard out later that day that the man didn't have to have his lower leg removed. They only removed a couple of toes, and his leg returned back. It wasn't my faith. It was Peggy's faith in the Lord, and me being just kind of a conduit of God's mercy and grace. One little lady that was in Moose Haven, she would visit our home on several occasions, and she was so thrilled at her age that she could rock our son Matt. At that time, it was just an infant, and always making statements of faith and declaration over Matt as she rocked with him. Not all of those had an attitude of gratitude. Were seasoned saints. Mary Jane always had a bright smile and an encouraging word. Tom always gives us a hug and a warm smile whenever we see him, and he's not in any assisted living. In each of these and many others, there were, and in some cases, standing strong in the face of challenges that they faced or are facing. The point that I'm trying to make today is this, is that the attitude of gratitude is contagious and encouraging. Where others would bemoan their status, and these were among others who infected those that they touched to be encouraged, seeing hope, faith, and love, not just of the Lord, but through their lives, through their encouragement, thereby minimizing what Paul said was a momentary light affliction. Let us cultivate that same attitude of gratitude and infect others with possibilities and potentials as we give thanks in all things. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Hey, Joel and Jim, it's great to see you. Listen, as we close this time, I just want to ask for your prayers for some dear friends of ours, Debbie Everett and her daughter, Ashley, and her son, Tyler. Their husband and father, Debbie's husband, Dale, a dear friend of ours from many years, many years. In the mid-'80s, we met Dale and Debbie. Dale graduated into glory yesterday morning, and my heart's heavy for Dale and his family. But would you pray that the comfort of the Holy Spirit would be near and dear for them? You may not know them, but I want you to know they're worthy of our prayers and standing in the gap on their behalf. Hey, listen, God bless you, and have a thankful week. Let's give thanks with a grateful heart. God bless you, and we'll see you again.